All right, welcome back to the Concussion Protocol Podcast, everybody. This is our third different combination of hosts in as many weeks. It's a crazy time of year, guys. It is Christmas time. It is holiday season, and everybody's got travel plans. My set looks a little bit different today as well. And so today it is Connor and Chase. This is the last of the three combinations. Chance, I believe, will be back for next episode. So don't you worry. We will have all three of us back to talk about the aftermath of the first round of the playoffs, baby. It is time. Playoffs start Friday. This Friday, December 19th, the first game of the playoffs will happen. It's going to be wild. It's just been a crazy, crazy ride to get to where we're at. We are going to unpack a little bit of it, but we're mostly going to be spending these episodes kind of talking about the highlights, the big picture stuff, and then we'll do a little bit of a preview in the next episode as well, just to round it up. First and foremost, though, guys, we hit a major milestone this past week that we did not expect to hit, certainly in the first season. And honestly, this is a brand new venture, and there's a million podcasts in the world, and there was a good possibility we never might have hit this milestone, but we hit 100 subscribers, 100 subscribers on YouTube, just that one platform, triple digits. That's not even counting on Instagram, TikTok, and all that. But guys, we are so incredibly grateful. And obviously this is not exactly, a monster channel with 10 million subscribers or anything like that. But we just started. We just started getting in this conversation. We have done no paid advertising. We have done no boosts, no sponsorships, nothing, just pure engagement from you guys, just pure conversations, consistent posting, and consistently showing the love for the game. And we have gotten so much love, lots of hate in the comments, but honestly, as we've been saying throughout this entire season, this entire adventure that we started with you guys, that's what we wanted. We wanted the engagement. We wanted the conversations. We wanted your voice to be heard, and you guys have made your voices heard in and out every single week. And we cannot tell you from the bottom of our hearts how grateful we are. We can't wait to get to 200 subscribers and even more wherever this road may carry us. This season is coming to a close, but we have so much to get through. And who knows, we might even be keeping it going in the off season of football with a couple of fun things we got planned. I think there might be a little bit of hoop talk going on as well. Well, this will always be primarily a college football podcast, but who knows what's coming our way. But we're super grateful for this adventure so far, and we're super excited to keep it going. So that being said, keep the conversations going, and let's get into our first item on the agenda, which is I take 1 week off from this show, and I get another wheel spin. Even when I'm not there, I get another wheel spin. I can't even believe it. So somehow the Duke Blue Devils at 7-5 managed to win the ACC title game. And first, they had to get into the ACC title game because the Blue Devils got in because the Yellow Jackets blew it. I can't even believe it. So, in spite of one team spending most of the year in the top 10 in the country, and the other team losing to UConn, I believe that was at home, I still have to spin a win. Or I still have to spin a wheel because they can't find a way to win when it matters, Georgia Tech. So let's get it over with. Whatever. We're just gonna get it right out of the way in front. Can anybody tell that I'm not having a good time with this right now? Because I have just so many of these stupid things to do. Oh, Chase. What am I gonna do with my life?
Whatever the wheel tells you to.
All right, shut up. Because I had the audacity to believe that a preseason Heisman contender and one of the hottest teams in the country all year long would make it to the ACC championship game. And I believe I even called them in the playoff because, I don't know, they were 8-0. Crazy of me to think that an 8-0 team in one of the weakest conferences would have a hard road to get to the playoff. But whatever. Because I had the audacity to put any faith in the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, here is the spin. What do you have for me, Fate? No. Chase. Oh, Chase.
Oh,
wow. Oh, okay.
picking the show.
Why not? Why not throw this one in there? So hot garbage means that I have a clock that's going to start. And when this clock starts, I have 72 hours to binge watch an entire season of a reality show of the choice of my wife and her best friends. This could be The Bachelorette. This could be Kardashians. This could be Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. This could be Love Island. This could be anything. But I will have exactly 3 days to stomach and grit my teeth through that entire season. And at the end, I have to give a report and get quizzed by this group of ladies on what I learned and how my life was changed. So, this is going to be a rough one. This might be worse than Elsa in a sports bar.
Should have just slid it up just a little bit. You were so close.
I know. Oh my goodness.
All this
right.
because the most underrated team on the planet let you down, Connor. The underrated Yellow Jackets. Oh,
dude,
man.
They literally forgot how to tackle. Like, they just took an amnesia pill.
The whole team
and
was
forgot
Haynes
how to
King.
tackle.
The whole team was Haynes King, and you're just like, yeah, one guy can
and
make it.
Haynes King by himself took them to 8-0.
And you still were like, oh yeah, they totally got it. They're gonna make it. No. I thought I was totally screwed at the end. I thought that somehow it would end up Georgia Tech versus Duke, but thankfully that did not happen.
Yeah, could you imagine if both of our takes came true somehow?
I'd be like, you gotta be kidding me, bro. Like,
yeah. Nope. I have not gotten a single take right all season, and Chance has gotten every single one of his right.
Except
I'm over
one,
it, man.
But unfortunately, we had to make a deal.
We called that one a wash for
Yep.
professionalism's sake.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, moving on from that, let's go ahead and let's go to, we got two kind of main talking points. We're going to talk Heisman and we're going to talk playoff. Chase, I'll actually defer to you. Which one do you want to start with? Do you want to start talking about the playoff or do you want to start talking about the Heisman?
Let's start with the Heisman, just because it's the most fresh thing that happened. So,
we're probably going to disagree on both of these subjects at least a little bit. So, go ahead. I'll defer to you. I'll let you talk about your thoughts on the Heisman. Talk about whatever aspects of it you want, and then I'll give my 2 cents. Then we can discuss a little bit. Go for it.
Gotcha. Well, the main discussion is, what do we think? Do we think the Heisman? Do we think the voters got it right, or do we think they got it wrong? I think,
for those of you who aren't tracking, in case you somehow were living under a rock and still listening to this podcast, Fernando Mendoza, the quarterback of University of Indiana, won in a landslide the Heisman. And since then, there has been a lot of debate as to whether or not the committee made the right choice, because Diego Pavia was not given the votes that a lot of people thought that he deserved. A lot of people, he was definitely the first and second, and then there was basically nobody else behind them. But that's where the controversy is because was it really, did Mendoza really deserve it in the first place, and did he deserve it by such a wide margin?
So I'll start. It's a weak year. It's a weak year in the Heisman polls. Last year, I think I said that last year was a little bit weak, but honestly, last year was a lot more entertaining, and I think I would have picked any of last year's candidates over this year's. I think Ashton Genty and Travis Hunter and a couple of the other guys would have made better candidates than some of the people on this list. It's kind of a down year offensively. A lot of just defensive shining, or at least spreading the love statistically. But we had to pick one, and the voters picked Fernando Mendoza. If we're going off of team success, you have to pick them, right? He's on the only remaining undefeated team, and he played really well. I mean, he has 27 touchdowns on the year, and he's got 33 touchdowns on the year, 6 interceptions, 71.5% completion rate, and 6 rushing touchdowns. It's not bad. On the other hand, Diego Pavia, who was the entirety of his team's offense, had 4,000 offensive yards, 3,200 passing, and about 800 rushing yards. 27 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, less of a ratio than Mendoza for sure. And then 9.
But he rushed a lot more.
Yeah, he rushed a lot more. It really comes to, at that point, you're basically coming down to who do you think played higher competition, who do you think impacted their team more, and who has the better record. Obviously, Mendoza has the better record. They're number 1 seed. They won the Big Ten. They're in the playoffs. Vanderbilt isn't. I think that more so comes to the fact that he's at Vanderbilt and their coach, while he's doing great, isn't Curt Cignetti. And he's not playing in a wishy-washy conference that has only 2 other good teams. So, but Indiana, that's not a blight. Let's not apply at Indiana specifically, because they went on the road. They beat Oregon. They beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. They played some games. They beat Penn State on the road as well, even though they were a struggling Penn State. They beat them in Happy Valley. So they didn't have they had probably the toughest schedule in the Big Ten. However, Vandy had to go through some really tough teams and really has not a very good defense. So it was truly Diego Pavia or bust. Like, I think if you took him out of that team, they would have had 5 wins. Like, they would have been non-existent. They would have been running a triple option with just I think it's not comparable of what Pavia had to do for his team versus what Indiana and Mendoza had to do. I think Pavia deserves it. Mendoza's the better story, in my opinion. He transferred from Cal, went to Indiana, that is a historically bad team at the time when Cignetti needed a quarterback, and he's undefeated. He's number 1. He's going to the playoffs, like I said. He's definitely deserves to be in the conversation. He definitely deserves to be either 1 or 2, but I just think that Pavia doing it at Vanderbilt, a team that I watched get bullied for my entire life in every game, I think it's more impressive. I just think it's more impressive, especially with what he did. Like, he kept it close. It depends on how you look at that Texas game. He kept it close on the road at Texas. He kept it relatively close against Alabama when Alabama was healthy and steamrolling teams. They beat Mizzou when Mizzou was riding hot. I think Pavia was a little bit more impressive in my eyes, but that's just me. How do you feel about it?
And this is where I think that everybody in the country can debate this, and will likely debate this year for years to come. You said it exactly right. I think this is a down year. If you look at statistics of pretty much all the past 15 years worth of Heisman winners, every single one of them had noticeably better stats. Even the runners up and even the third runners up, most of them had way better stats than this. I mean, especially you look at 2023. I mean, you had Bo Nix, Michael Penix, and oh my goodness, who was the winner that year?
Jaden Daniels.
Why am I totally blanking on who was?
You blanked it out, Connor? Jaden Daniels?
Oh, Caleb Williams, right?
Jalen Daniels.
Jaden Daniels. Duh. Right, yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. My goodness. Jaden Daniels. I mean, you talk about a golden class of those quarterbacks. I mean, unbelievable what each of them did. And then last year you had the unstoppable juggernaut on both sides of the ball between Travis Hunter and on offense and defense, and then the walking highlight reel who literally could snap off a 60-yard run at the drop of a hat on any given play in Ashton Genty. And then there were two more right behind him, including the number 1 overall pick, Cam Ward. You want to talk about stories? I mean, 0-star to number one overall pick, and then right behind him, Cam freaking Scattaboo. I mean, this is definitely not the dramatic, crazy years of the past, but those two definitely, very obviously, deserve to be at the top. We probably look at it differently. If you can make those arguments, I'm going to just make the argument from how the Heisman is to me, like what it means to me personally. I'm not saying my view is correct. I'm just saying what it means to me. The best player in college football is the best combination of the most skilled with the most entertainment. It was so heartbreaking to me to watch Jaden Daniels go into LSU and do everything that we only saw flashes of at Arizona State for 2 years, and he did them like 3 times a game. You know, he went from like, oh, he had a really good game to, oh my goodness, every single drive he's just putting up numbers like you wouldn't believe. That team did not necessarily have clutch in it, though, enough to close out games. You know, they did well, obviously, but not a national championship season like they were hoping for. And then, same thing with last year, where all those finishers, they, most of the, Travis Hunter excluded, obviously, they all had playoff hopes, if not, some of them were dashed in the very last week. But this year, I go back and forth because Diego Pavia, yes, he played real stiff competition way more often than Fernando Mendoza. But at the end of the day, too, Fernando Mendoza and Indiana are such a complete team that nobody's been able to stop him so far. Like, would it have mattered if they played an SEC slate? Are they that good? We're about to find out. The playoffs are here. There was doubt about Ohio State all year long from everybody outside of the major media publications. Lots of people were doubting Ohio State, and they played them really, really close. They won. What I saw out of Fernando Mendoza, and I said it a couple times throughout the year, I saw what I needed to see. I do think that he was the Heisman candidate, but I am admitting that I look for that combination of clutch, team success, and excitement. I have to say, and this is probably going to make a lot of people mad, I liked watching Fernando Mendoza more than I liked watching Diego Pavia. And I really, really, really like Diego Pavia, not taking anything away from him. He's an extraordinarily entertaining player. But I cannot wait every single time Fernando Mendoza has the ball in his hands to see what he's going to do. He made some of the most clutch passes, ice in his veins, over and over and over again. Yes, you can say it was against potentially lesser competition, but he did make them. I can't help but think I saw Diego Pavia lose games for his team this year. Now, you can say their crappy defense put them in positions to lose games where he had to make hero plays in which he was much more likely to make mistakes. But at the same time, Fernando did not make those mistakes. And every game was not a cakewalk for them. He had plenty of comeback victories. He had plenty of close games. Dominated Oregon on the road. Pulled it out in clutch time against both Penn State and Ohio State. I am perfectly fine. I will not lose any sleep at night calling Fernando Mendoza the Heisman winner this year. I am interested that it was not closer, but do I think that Diego Pavia should have been mouthing off like he was because he lost? No, I did not think that was a good look, but I do understand his frustration. I definitely recognize how he could be very, very salty about it. That being said, both of y'all in years better be grateful that this is 2025 and not any one of the last 20 years. Because I think maybe 2020 would have been the only other year that was not, or that was as non-competitive as this year was.
Yeah, so. Truly, like none of these. What I think Jeremiah Love is like the only guy that might have been on someone's Heisman list. Like all of the other guys, you're like saying in his first year, no way. Fernando Mendoza, okay, sure, whatever. Diego Pavia, yeah, right. We have Sawyer Robinson. We got Garrett Nussmeier, Cade Klubnik, Drew Aller. We got all these guys coming in. There's no way, and all those guys laid eggs. So, or were injured.
Yeah, every single one of them laid eggs.
They're definitely fortunate, but they did what they needed to. I'm not going to lose sleep over Fernando winning the Heisman. He's, it came down to those two. Those were the only two I said before right after the final games. I was like, there's nobody in this discussion except Diego Pavia and Fernando Mendoza. I think at the end of the day, people saw, hey, one team's in the playoffs, one team is not. One team has 0 losses, one team does not. It's just, for me, I think that's team play, that's coaching, that's defense, it's offense, it's special teams, that's everything. And then your strength of schedule and whatnot. For me, I see it as this, and I see this in the same thing in the NBA and MVP in football. If you take the player off this team, how are they doing? And that's why a lot of the times these awards end up in quarterback hands, because the quarterback is one of the most important positions on the field, arguably the most important position on the field in any given game. There's some occasional times where it might be a defensive player, it might be a running back if it's a very run-heavy team, but most of the time, the quarterback's got to do quarterback things. So I think if you take Fernando Mendoza off his team, I think their defense and I think their running game, and I think they wouldn't be where they are, but I think they would have done pretty well in the Big Ten. I think maybe they'd be at 2 losses, like Vandy is right now. But if you take Diego Pavia off that Vandy team, that team is probably not even bowl bound right now. Their defense was atrocious. The only other player on their team that I thought was like really standoutish and is a very good like draftee would be their tight end, because he was played amazing as well. But it's Diego Pavia mania down there. So I think he should have gotten it. And this is coming from someone who like mid-season was like, fuck that guy. Like, I'm tired of him flashing that Heisman pose in every freaking play. I hate when players do that. Pick 1 or 2. Don't do it again. I hate when they do it. But, I don't care that he gets mad and voices off about it. Yeah, is it a little bit immature for a 40-year-old man? Yeah, but I don't know. This is basically it for the guy. I mean, he'll probably get drafted, but I can't see him going anywhere in the NFL. So that shit meant the world to him, and I think he got robbed a bit. So I completely understand where his headspace is at doing that. So I don't expect everyone to always make the right decisions. Saying fuck the committee, I say fuck the committee every week, man. They always say dumb shit. Like these things happen, man. I don't blame the guy. Yeah. So, but congrats to Mendoza. He had a fantastic year. Let's see how he does in the playoffs. Love to see him beat some teams that I don't like, but if you start playing Texas Tech, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's again why I would have been fine either way, but I'm really not I'm not gonna die on the hill of Fernando Mendoza, but I'm also definitely not going to say that he didn't. I will not say that he did not deserve it.
Quick question: do you think that this year? Well, obviously, I guess it's probably easy for you. Do you think this year's more of a robbery or last year with Ashton Genty and Travis Hunter?
Whether Pavia, who got robbed worse, Pavia or Genty? Oh, Genty by a wide margin. Statistically speaking, Travis Hunter was the leader in interceptions on his team and the leader in receiving yards on his team. That being said, Colorado stunk. Like, they were not a good team. Go ahead, thrash me in the comments like every Fairweather Colorado fan suddenly coming out of the woodwork the last 3 years seems to do at the drop of a hat every time someone so much as mildly critiques Travis Hunter in that 2024 Colorado team. That team had 0 ranked wins, got annihilated in the bowl game in spite of still having their allegedly NFL caliber quarterback on the roster and their Heisman winner both coming back for that game, got embarrassed. That was the best year Colorado's had in a while. I don't even know if they deserve to be ranked at 9-4 at the end of the year, but no.
Not the way they got
Travis Hunter is a freak athlete who has unmatched stamina. I'm not taking anything away from him, but just because he played in the Power 4 does not mean that he was either the most influential, impactful, or most exciting player to watch in the country. It was his stamina that was most impressive. Yes, he was good at his position, but you're a Power 4 Division 1 wide receiver. I expect you to be making good plays. I don't even think Devontae Smith deserved the Heisman, but you ain't no Devontae Smith. He's just not. He's a good receiver who can play both ways competently. He was not a walking highlight reel. He was a marathon man. That's 2 different things.
Yeah, I see it as the same thing. I think they both got robbed pretty equally. I see, once again, which team would be more affected if you took him off, if you took that player off the team? If you took Ashton Genty off of Boise State, they're not going anywhere. They're not making the playoffs. They're probably losing another 3 or 4 games without him, unless they have another suitable running back that's going to put up yards like that. And I don't think they could have ever dreamed of having one if they recruited someone else, maybe. I don't know. But Travis Hunter, you take him off, lose maybe 2 more times. You still lose your bowl game. You still have no good wins. You still don't make the playoffs. You still don't make the Big 12 championship. You're still Colorado. It doesn't really change anything. I'm definitely happy for their Colorado and their fans for having that, because that's definitely, with how subpar that team has been for so long, I'm definitely happy to see a smaller team get their roses when a guy does something special, and he did do something special. I just think Ashton Genty was a little bit more special, just like this year. I think Pavia is just a little bit more special.
I mean, I get it. It's been a while, but Colorado has a Heisman winner and a national championship.
Yeah. Not when I've been alive, but yeah, they do.
No, not while we've been alive, but more than Indiana, more than Boise State, more than Arizona State, more than a lot of schools. Do we need to pull up the list? Do we need to pull up the list of how many schools have actually won Heismans before, and that almost every single one of them has won multiple Heismans? Crazy how many Heismans have come out of USC, Alabama, Oregon, LSU, Ohio State over the years, and why 90% of the country has never produced a single one. Now Colorado somehow has 2. That first one deserved it. Are you really going to sit there with a straight face and tell me that Travis Hunter was as critical and linchpin to the success of Colorado's 9-4 Alamo Bowl blowout as Rashaan Salam was to the 1992 national championship game? You're crazy. You're insane if you're going to make that argument to my face. But go ahead and try to do it. So,
they've had a tough season, Connor. Don't kick them.
Yeah. Well, and to give credit where credit's due, that's one of the reasons why I go back and forth on Indiana, is because Indiana seems like an amazingly well-rounded team. That defense, we were talking about this during that championship game, that Indiana's defense showed a side that, like, they were good all year, but the offense was what was seen to be carrying them. We hadn't seen Indiana's defense really tested that much, because Oregon still put up points on them. Like, it was a respectable loss. Like, they didn't get annihilated. It was a controlled win, but they still did score. But they shut down Ohio State. And that was not something that I expected. I think everybody kind of expected that to be a gun show. And it was a defensive slugfest. So we still don't quite know if that was because Ohio State is not up to the task, as many of us suspected they were not, or if Indiana is just playing the best football that they've played all year down the stretch.
No, I don't know. if there were people that thought it was going to be a shootout, shame on you. That's not how the Big Ten works, dude. It's always these most boring 10 to 13 games constantly, dude. There's no way. To be fair, Indiana has made a lot of them more entertaining, but I swear, every time I watch Ohio State play in one of these bigger games, it's one of the most boring games I've ever watched in my life. Sometimes it's because they're dominant, and sometimes it's just because they're both boring offenses. So
5 years in a row, the Penn State Ohio State was 17 to 10,
yeah,
or something like that.
Exactly. So I never thought it was going to be a high scoring game. Obviously, the defenses kept it clean in that game, but even in that Oregon game, the defense has played really well. I think the offensive line is what was the difference in that game. The offensive line for Indiana specifically kept control on both sides. On the offensive side, and then the defense did their job. So I think they dominated that game, in my opinion. But I'm still not sure where Oregon is on my echelon here. But
we're about to find out. We're about to find out if they're going to win their second ever playoff game. I think this weekend, right? So, anyways, let's go on to the last subject that we have for this segment. This is going to be a weird conversation. The playoff structure. Where are we doing with it? And we're going to get some more data. I was furious that after last year that everybody was like, let's change everything after one single data point, one single year. I didn't like that. We're going to have some more data after this year. Chase, do you think that there need to be changes made to the playoff structure? If so, what? I got my thoughts. I want to hear yours.
Well, I am very curious to hear yours because we were pretty in agreement before we made these changes, if I remember correctly. I would like changes. However, it's not in the way that most people would like changes. I get really annoyed when I see people calling for 24-team, 32-team playoffs and just wanting to see March Madness because I get it. Notre Dame got screwed in the last second, and poor Notre Dame. They had 3 good games all year, lost 2 of them, and didn't make it. Boo-hoo. I'm sorry. I don't care. I don't care. I think Notre Dame was a good team. I think they could have stolen a game or flipped a game here or there, but they didn't deserve it. And there's no point in playing the regular season games if you're going to put in teams because you think they're better, not because they performed the way they needed to and they deserved it. So I don't care that Notre Dame didn't make it in. I do agree. Obviously, I fucking hate Alabama. I hate them. But you can't punish a conference championship contender like that who is in and saying, you got blown out, you lose. I knew they were keeping Bama. I knew they were. So that doesn't bother me that Notre Dame got pinched. They deserved it. They shouldn't have been in there to begin with. So that being said, the bottom teams that made it into the playoffs, do we think any of them have a chance? Truly. Do we think any of these last 4 teams, where's my bracket? Where is it? Last 4 teams in the bracket are James Madison, Tulane, and then who's that? Miami. Maybe Miami. No, is it Miami? Yeah, Miami and Bama. Do we think any of them are winning a natty this year?
Not even a little.
No. I know Notre Dame fans could say this without any fear because there's no way to test it, right? Do we think Notre Dame? Do we think Notre Dame would have won the natty this year?
No.
There's no way. They're expanding it is stupid. The only reason that we had an 8 seed was it an 8 seed? Yeah, 8 seed Ohio State win last year is because they lost by like 2 points to Oregon on the road and then lost in a choke fest against Michigan and didn't make their conference championship. That's the only reason we had a considered lower seed win. I didn't like that we expanded to 12. Why are we expanding to 30? Like, what are we doing? We're going to just keep adding more teams that don't deserve this chance. We're not only expanding the field to teams that do not deserve a chance, adding a safety net for big brand teams to lose multiple times and get in anyway, i.e. Alabama just did. Like, we're adding these safety nets for these teams And we're disincentivizing like just bowl games. Nobody even cares about these bowl games anymore because we made it all about the playoffs. At least when it was a 4-team, no team, these people weren't crying and opting out of games for every single bowl game because there was only 4 teams getting in. You knew way before the end of the season, you're like, we're not making that shit. There's only 4 teams getting in. You knew within the last couple of weeks, like, do we have a shot? No, we don't have a shot. And so you're playing your bowl game. You play a good game. You got some good games out of it. Now, everybody's opting out. That at least, well, the SEC teams are still playing. Kudos to them. But a lot of the other teams are just like, I'm in a bad mood and I don't want to play in the Pop-Tart Bowl. Don't want to do it. So we're killing the sport and what was so good about it. And then we're just going to add these smaller teams. Not smaller teams. These less poorly performing teams at the end of the season and giving them extra cushion. No. So if either keep it the way it is or lessen it, because adding more is not going to fix it. It's just going to, you push it to 14 and so Notre Dame can get their cushion right. Another team's going to get screwed next year for being 15. It's going to be the same thing. There's always going to be one team. There's going to be some Texas doesn't get in, Michigan doesn't get in, someone's going to cry. You didn't deserve it. Neither did those last 2 teams that got in, but you didn't deserve it. And I don't, unless one of these 12 seeds, if James Madison wins the national championship, I'll eat crow. I'll absolutely say, you know what? I'll shut up. James Madison, Tulane, fucking Miami wins it. I'll eat crow. Sure. Let's expand it, I guess. But no.
I don't even. Okay. Well, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'll. Okay. I can see to you, sir.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, a couple things on it. Yeah, I went off because I think the bigger thing, like you're saying, is it's destroying the integrity of the sport. I think that's the thing that people are most upset about, honestly. And I went off pretty hard about how just utterly disgraceful and disgusting and infantile and whining and petulant the Notre Dame fan base is. And I wish that I had time to list more adjectives, but I don't have my thesaurus with me of how awful you guys are doing, just how embarrassing to yourselves, your school, to Rudy himself, that you guys are just making yourselves look like fools right now. And it is not good for the sport. You didn't deserve it. And even if you did, then take it like a man. Take it like a grown adult. Just stop being so whiny. I won't belabor it like I did last time, but just know that the point remains. You guys are being what's wrong with college football right now. There's no 2 ways about it. So that being said, yeah, you guys are supposed to be leaders. You're supposed to be showing what it means to be a competitor, what it means to be an example of, losing with grace, because that's what you do when you're an adult, is not everything works out for you in life all the time. And so you take it like a man and you figure it out. You move on. You don't sit there belly aching about what should have been and woe is you. You play at Notre Dame. Most people would call that the experience of a lifetime. To be able to just wear that jersey and step out on the field. And you're not even doing that. And my point with all of this, not to rehash last week, but to say you're showing that that's an okay thing to do and others are following suit. You're showing other people and others are following you that it's not about the game. It's about how much you think that you deserve to be called the best, in whether or not the results on the field dictated it. And sometimes things in life are out of your control. And that's too bad, so sad. But you don't get to change the name of the game, literally change the rules, move the goalposts just because you think you deserve something.
Sign a memorandum of understanding so that you can make a reservation for next year because you're that soft. You know what happened? You know what happened a couple years ago when Georgia lost in the SEC championship, their first loss of the season? You know what happened when they missed the playoffs? They blew out Florida State 66 to 0, 66 to 6. They showed them that we still deserve this. We just played an unlucky game. Notre Dame's
prove them wrong.
We don't want to play BYU. We're scared.
You were gonna play BYU.
BYU
and all the other thing, like again, you're ruining it. And the players that are doing this on purpose, the players that are getting together and saying, "Well, we'll show them." Grow up. You're an embarrassment to your sport. Don't teach that to kids. You get the opportunity. Do you have any idea how many people who stopped playing football their senior year of high school, and they would literally sell their own foot? They would lose a kidney. They would get run over by a truck for the opportunity to put on pads again one more time and play a half of football. You're playing at Notre Dame. You're playing in college. You're getting paid.
Even now. That's where I was going to go. I was like, you know how many people just a couple years ago, the Heismans of just a few years ago, would kill to have played in this era where they're getting paid to do this?
Yeah.
You imagine Johnny Manziel if he had NIL back then and was making legal money? Like, come on. And you're crying about this? Jeez.
Yeah. How do you look yourself in the mirror and call yourself that? And the craziest thing is, like, I try to bring these subjects up, like in comment sections around all sorts of pages. I have never once seen a player from any given team or anyone associated directly with these sports actually making an argument why this is a good thing. Nothing. Nobody involved. You have no guts. You have no character. You have no spine to stick up for yourself and defend your actions because you know you're wrong. And so, no, I don't think the playoffs should be changed one bit. My original take on it was make it 8 teams. And yes, I'm fully aware that would have meant that Arizona State, my beloved Arizona State, wouldn't have had a snowball's chance at playing in that game last year, which ended up being arguably the single best, most entertaining game of the entire, some might even say of the whole season, but certainly the most entertaining game of the whole playoff. Notre Dame, Penn State was pretty good. Even Ohio State, Texas was okay. But that game, Texas versus Arizona State, was by far the most entertaining game of the playoff. One of the most entertaining games all year. And they would never have had a shot. But did they deserve it? I don't know. They're 2-loss conference champion. They lost to 2 unranked teams, both on the road, one without their starting quarterback. You could have made an argument if there was an 8-team field. But I certainly wouldn't have been crying into my camera about it otherwise. And I guarantee you Kenny Dillingham wouldn't have either. Neither would probably none of those players. But you guys call yourselves Notre Dame. You're teaching the wrong lesson. So yeah, we could go on for a long time, but no. Nobody needs to expand the playoffs. Nobody needs to have special rules made for them.
There is one kind of expansion that I did like. And
what's that?
I don't know if you saw this or you saw this in the group chat. One idea that I did like was creating an NIT, a not in tournament or not in playoffs for the last couple teams to have their own playoffs, but not for a championship. Because the reason I like that one is because it takes away that safety net for those big teams. You still can't win a natty, but you can prove that you might have deserved that spot, and you can have bragging rights. It gives you something to play for. You still get a little trophy, and that's going to increase viewership too, because those teams would get more excited about that than not playing in a.
You could make that. I mean, you could do like a 16 team playoff with that. And then that would get, and then give their, make there be, and I will say on this note, separate line, do not say that I'm going back on anything. I'm not. There is something entertainment wise that is missing from bowl games now that there is a playoff. Bowl games used to be in and of themselves the season, punctuation mark. There is a lack of luster to them because they're just not that interesting and anymore. And I do respect. Now, they're interesting
very much because of people opting out and being soft.
Yes, that's the main reason. So I wouldn't be mad at making some of these lesser bowl games into something like that. It'd be hard to market it. but that's a possibility. That's an idea. I do like the idea. I mean, there's a couple other ideas that have been floated around that I've seen. One that I really like is you get your NIL money at the end of the year, or you have like 50% up front, 50% if you actually finish the season with your team. And so that's an incentive that I could see is don't take, just skip out on the bowl game because of that. There's a couple different ways that you could go to kind of salvage these things. Not expanding the playoff, not giving certain teams or certain conferences the right. I think probably and this you might disagree with me strongly on this. I do stick by this strongly. We need to have major incentives for conference championships, and I will disagree with you on this, Chase, and it's okay because I do think that we can have separate opinions on this, but I do think that having massive incentives for conference championships works, and I do not think that it's fair to say that this person came in, got blown out, and has no repercussions for it. Especially a bubble team like Alabama. Alabama had one of the worst losses in the country, a couple of really, really good wins, and then another laid an egg, got destroyed, embarrassed. They got real lucky that game wasn't 28-0. Their one touchdown came when they got 30 yards worth of super soft penalties given to them.
So you also feel that way about BYU
in the conference championships. And I actually do think that in that argument, the next best team would have been Notre Dame. Now, that's why I'm kind of making the argument, the caveat there, that I think the playoff is too big, but BYU lost twice to them. Neither time was close. Neither time was even pretty. It was gross, nasty, awful both times. They did better the second time, but not nearly good enough.
They actually lost by more the second time.
Well, a lot of those points were in garbage time. It really was. I mean, about 17 of those points were in garbage time. But still, you're right.
Yeah, exactly. None of those teams deserve it. Maybe renew your rivalry with Michigan. Increase your strength of schedule. It's like you played the bottom tier of the ACC. You played the worst team in the SEC in Arkansas. You played one of the worst teams in the Big Ten in Purdue. And I get that one's a rivalry. Okay, Michigan was a rivalry too. Renew it. Do it. Face Michigan. Just join the Big Ten and play Michigan. Play Michigan and Indiana. You win one of those games, you win out, you're in. You're in. You lost to a Texas A&M.
Do you have any idea how good it would be for college football if Rutgers and Maryland just joined the ACC like normal people and Notre Dame went to the Big Ten?
Yep. So simple. I don't care. Like, you can be independent, but you're gonna have some punishment for it. And this year was one of them. Like, you can't
keep acting surprised.
Yeah, I don't care if they can stay independent, but do they deserve the nod over a team that played in a conference championship and then got screwed? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So,
yeah. Do I think that they deserved it more than Alabama? Yeah. But not by much. I understand the committee's decision, and I'm certainly not going to be lobbying in March.
I would also have more respect if their next year's schedule wasn't even softer. They literally have 3 true road games next season. 3 true road games and 2 neutral sites. Oh my God. And they play nobody. And they get a reservation. If they're in the top 12, they're guaranteed. Like, that's so good for the sport, guys. Yeah. Just what's stupid too is they're in the ACC in every sport except football. And they're throwing a tantrum. They're like, we're leaving the ACC. And they're like, okay. Like, yeah, that hurts their football for sure, but all their other sports carried them. Dude, soft.
Any other parting shots before we wrap this one up? I think we've
Yeah, I wasn't here last week. Ohio State, eat shit. There we go.
Let's go.
I just had to say it. Hoosiers. What happened?
Let's go.
I just think that's so funny. I go away for a week. I pick Ohio State to win the game in the picks, and they lose. I thought they were the best team ever, guys. I thought that nobody could beat them. That's crazy.
They beat Texas.
Yeah, at home. by 7 when they were bad enough to struggle against UTEP. They did do that. But,
they did.
They got a chance to prove themselves again. Once again, they haven't won the Big Ten in 5 years, by the way. 2020. If you even count that. You even count
12-0.
if you
12-0 and they finally beat Michigan.
If you even count the year of 2020, that was the last time they won the Big Ten.
Oh man. Oh, I love it. I love it with every fiber of my being. You can win the national championship, but you can't win the Big Ten. Oh, yeah. Go eat a big one, Ohio State.
If you guys lose,
right.
if you guys lose in the first round to Miami or Texas A&M,
oh, that'll feed families, man.
Yeah, expect some repercussions in those comments, guys. Just saying.
Oh yeah, the whole world's keeping receipts because we know you're frauds. All right. Hey, this has been the recap. I don't even know. Was this even a recap? I don't know. It was just kind of a big picture.
More of a discussion. This is more of a discussion. And your wheels.
This has been us getting our feelings out on the Concussion Protocol podcast. We'll be right back after this break with the bowl week picks, including the first round of the college football playoff.
Remember to like, subscribe,